Okay, so it's lovely to have Uili and David here from OHAI, and to have the opportunity to talk with you about what the situation is currently in OHAI. So could you tell us a little bit about the impact on OHAI from the recent eruption in Tonga?
I think it's the difficulties of this. I cannot really speak from first hand. My feeling is going out to my people in Tonga. The second, it took me 2 weeks to being able to connect it with Deborah in Tonga and find out what has and what was happening. I believe that the strength and the magnitude of what was taking place, it's really hard to be able to comprehend in many levels. But what we can go from here is to being able to rebuild again. And I believe that's where OHAI and with VSA and also with David being on the ground in Tonga and also remotely for the last 2 years here in New Zealand too. So
yes, I think from what we've heard so far, the number of bees in beehives has declined dramatically since the volcanic eruption, which is a great shame because we were building up into nice numbers ready for expansion come the spring, because a beekeeping cycle, if you're starting a beekeeping operation, it takes about 3 or 4 years really to get things going. Each year you expand a bit more and a bit more by splitting hives, by getting more bees from homes and putting them into hives, and that's the way you build up sustainably. And of course we'd started to build up some decent numbers, and now this has happened, so it's gone really right down again. So what I've asked is, and I'm having a talk with Deborah this evening in Tonga, is for really an inventory of assets, an inventory of bees, an inventory of bees in hives, and an inventory of hives and other equipment, that because I feel until we've ascertained that and found out what we've got, it's going to be more difficult making decisions to move forward to build up. And the build up again, once hopefully we've got a load of hives still existing, even if there are no bees in them. So that's a sort of a capital asset that we won't have to replace. And building the bees we do naturally, but it again will take time. And I would say it would take a couple of years to build up to a bit more than where we are or where we were before the volcanic eruption. So beekeeping takes time. It's a seasonal affair. You can't do anything in the winter really except feed them. You have to do everything in spring and summer, and that's what we'll be doing. And we'll be what I hope is that there will be a sort of a sound business plan backing this, backing our expansion, and we'll do it sustainably and we'll do it carefully and we'll get it right. And barring cyclones and other volcanoes, we should maintain or build a sustainable future, I think. But it's going to need our stakeholders to show, as with the Tongan people, a bit of patience, because these things do take time.
And I obviously know that you've had quite a long relationship with OHAI, David, and obviously with Uili and with Deb as well. So I mean, in terms of so that's obviously the longer term recovery.
Yeah.
And in terms of the next steps, you talked about the inventory, you needing the inventory. What kind of happens from there?
What will happen from there, I hope, is that once we know what we've got, once we know how many empty hives there are with, or hives with non-functioning colonies that we'll have to get rid of, then we can start filling them with bees. But the time to do that is really this spring. So, and I think that gives the Tongan people as well a good time scale to sort of recover themselves better. It'll take much longer, I suspect, but to recover themselves better between now and spring in Tonga, we're talking sort of October time really. And then with the inventory figures that we have, we can start building up the bee numbers. So first the inventory, get that sorted. Go through the winter feeding the bees, because there's not going to be, and there's even less now, flowers for them to feed on, so they'll need the bees that do exist or still exist will need sugar syrup, and then come spring we will start building up the numbers again actively. That's the plan so far, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And sort of, obviously there's a human impact of this as well. How are the beekeepers that you've been working with and training and supporting, how are they faring?
You know, as I said, it's very difficult because of our communication in Tonga. It's still breakdown. So I can imagine, because you know the actual psychological impact on them on a daily basis is huge. I believe that if we are suffered, they are more suffering than us because of the means they have. So you know, we are resilient enough, and I'm sure that we rebuilt. As I said earlier, to share the experiences of it too. It was, unfortunately, it was only one life, which is very close to us as well. Our dear friend Angela passed away, got killed. But it's affecting us all as well, you know. So, but the thing is about us in Tonga, I think we're the main island. This is 80% of population populated on that. That was the main was impacting. So the whole west coast was totally wiped out. You know, the food security in Tonga, we're going to face 2 to 5 years of rebuilding. And you know, we need as much as we could, as David mentioning. With now the next 2 to 5 years, we're going to have a solid another re-looking on our initial business plan, so we can solidify a new one as well to go through with the rebuilding. And it's so important for all of us to, you know, the time is you know, that's the thing that we lost, and that's the thing that's not on our side. But we could do, you know, more refining after the last 3 years of been involving on it too. We can see what other things we can really put our attention and our focus mindfully. But we know with the assistance of the VSA, which is a great essential for OHAI, and also for the food security of all of Tonga, and also the government of Tonga. And I think that we can actually move forward. But all it's going to come down to the nitty-gritty of it too. It's all the the details, and also how we're looking after our beekeepers in Tonga as well. You know, what their personal needs, and all, you know, what their personal things that we can be able to support them business-wise as well, but also to their family too.
And one of the beekeepers out there has been contacting me whenever she gets some coverage, and she's been contacting me quite matter-of-factly about some problems with her beehives, nothing to do with the volcano. And I said, well, how are your bees getting on generally? She said, oh, they're fine, they're very resilient. I said, in the volcano, no, they've survived that. So, you know, there's always hope. And I'm sure that in spring, despite the fact that there's ash everywhere, that there's going to be a general reflowering. It always happens in other places, and the bees will get back to work. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and really appreciate it, so thank you.
Great.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say thank you very much for VSA, and also thank you personally for me, David, and for the kindness and help looking out for us in the Kingdom of Tonga. So hopefully that we're resilient enough, and we'll physically sustain ourselves for, you know, for better growth, and also for a better future for Tonga.